Johnny Rocco. This here's Matches. Matches, Johnny Rocco, get to know us. We might end up saving your lives, huh, before the day's over. You never know. You don't need to know too much to get by here in Chicago. A couple of things you do gotta know. You see somebody pointing a gun, you hear gunfire, somebody yells duck, what are you gonna do? Duck, very good. We got 2, maybe 3 people in the whole crowd. So here, why don't we have a rehearsal for the rest of us, huh? Let's say we're in down the south side, sun shining, the birds are chirping, kids are playing, duck, duck, get down, duck, 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 duck. Not bad. What are you guys from Detroit? Pockets O'Banion.
Pockets O'Banion, they call him. Yeah, this guy's always ready to draw a gun.
That's right.
He tells a great story. Listen to this. Tell him everything.
So the guys pull up, right?
They got murder on their minds, what they got. They ain't there for no flowers. Go tell him it. He tells a great story. Tell him all about it.
Yeah,
Don't interrupt him.
I was going to say, it looked like regular floral business to him. He didn't think it was any different, right? No, it was not. These guys pull up. They step out of their car. He goes to greet them. He figured, all you hit for your flowers,
huh? Last handshake of his life, I tell you what, he's about to get murdered. Oh boy, buckle up. You ready for this?
Building suspense here, huh? He reaches to shake his hand, right? Puts out his hand to shake his hand. He's trusting these guys. They give him 2 hands. They give him the old traditional Sicilian handshake.
The
2
dead
hands,
handshake,
right?
They're about to call that one the murder. Go ahead, tell him. Come on, tell the story.
I don't even know what I'm talking about anymore over here. That's right. They take the 2 hands. They pull the guy onto the counter like this. The other 2 guys that were with him pull out guns, put it right in the back of his back, and they start shooting like this, right through the heart.
Blam, 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 6 times right through the heart. Who's been shot in the heart before? Raise your hand, huh? Can't stick a Band-Aid over that. It's a big bloody mess, I tell you what. The guy's bleeding left and right. Goosh, goosh. Opened up like a crown roast. A little piece of body parts like fireworks. Pew, 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 pew. It's like a slip and slide of blood over here. The kids are having fun this summer.
Making these people sick and they just had their lunch. What is this?
It's like Buckingham Fountain. Goosh, goosh. Little chunks of cholesterol. Push, push, push. The heart's beating out on the ground there right in front of him. It's like Saving Private Ryan there without the morphine. I tell you what, this guy was bleeding worse than Amy Winehouse's liver.
I think we get the point. How do you know so much about this?
Oh, I slipped on the blood myself. It was everywhere. I couldn't believe it.
No kidding. You were here?
Yeah, I was here. I was across the street. I was in church.
What were you doing in church?
Confession.
How long were you doing that for?
12 hours.
I bet you were.
What's the rest of his life? He got him when he was a teenager in Brooklyn. Young lady makes a comment, or he makes a comment about a young lady's derriere. Well, she's right next to her brother, Franco Galucci. He pulls out a switchblade. You can't talk about my sister that way. Tries to slice Al's throat. Al ducks out of the way, catches 4 slices right here in the side of the face. 4 scars lasting the rest of his life. We call him Scarface. Should call him that to his face. He'd like to be paid respect. Call him Mr. Capone, the chief, the boss, Big Al, or the nickname he came up with for himself, Snorky.
And Al Capone and Johnny Torrio say, listen, you got it. We're going to make some money when Prohibition starts. You should sell a few of these dumps, get a fleet of trucks, get some breweries. That's where the money's going to be in the 20s. He said, no, don't worry about that. Prohibition won't last 6 months. Nobody's going to go for that stuff. We're making money. We're doing good up the gambling and the prostitution and that stuff. Just let it go. They weren't too happy about that. They wanted to make some changes. So one day, Al Capone calls in sick. Johnny Torrio calls up Colosimo, says, do me a favor, can you just get there early? Sorry for some whiskey coming in. So Diamond Jim shows up to the club, which is coming up over here on your right-hand side. Al Jolson, Mae West, all the big stars at the time. And they come here to see and be seen. And the orchestra would rise up out of the basement on hydraulic lift. Here's $4 million. That should take care of things, huh? The judge says, Mr. Capone, you cannot bribe the federal government. Throws him in the penitentiary down in Atlanta, Georgia. He's in there for about a year. He's living high on the hog. He's still doing okay. He's in jail. He's still running the mob, right? He's got a carpet on the floor. He's got paintings on the wall. To prove this is a strictly legitimate operation over here, we'll have this kid here pick out the first car. What's your name, man? Cameron? Go ahead, reach in there and pick one out. Oh, yeah, there you go. Gonna pick out his own card, right? What do you got there? guy started out as a young kid in Indiana. He was a Hoosier. You know what I mean? Who's your ma? Who's your pa? That kind of thing. Right? Yeah, he starts as a young kid. Him and his buddy decide they're going to rob a grocery store. So they put a rail spike in a burlap sack and walk in, swing around, pretend like they're going to hit the guy in the head. Guy gives them everything that's in the register. It's told $12, right? He gets back home later that night. Sheriff's sitting there waiting for him because everybody knows everybody in this town. So his father tells him, listen, you're going to have to throw yourself at the mercy of the court. We can't afford a lawyer for you. His friend gets a lawyer. He gets 3 months in jail. Dillinger gets 11 years for unarmed robbery. And while he's in jail, he learns one thing. He will never commit unarmed robbery again. From now on, he's going to be heavily armed. Everywhere he goes. And he becomes a very good bank robber. He goes from town to town robbing the bank. State to state, so you could rob a bunch of banks, cross the state lines, and they can't chase you across the state line, you know what I mean? It wasn't a federal crime yet back then. So he's driving all around Ohio, Indiana, Iowa, Wisconsin. He'd always land it over here in Chicago and hide out. One point they caught up to him in Arizona, Tucson, Arizona. The guy drags him all the way back to Crown Point, Indiana. They put him in jail. He sits in jail and he carves a gun out of a washboard, right? Colors it all black with shoe polish. Pretends he's got a gun. Deputy lets him out. He grabs the sheriff's car, drives up here to Chicago, and starts hiding out here in Chicago. He's got some extra dough, so he gets some place. One of the first people to ever get plastic surgery. He got his face changed. He burned off his fingerprints with acid, so they couldn't trace him anymore. And he starts living at this house, what you call a house of horizontal refreshment. You know what I mean? This woman, Anna Sage, she's a madam. She's running the thing. She's from Romania. She's starting to get in trouble. They're going to deport her, so she says to the feds, listen, I know where Dillinger is. I can get him for you if you give me the reward money and you give me U.S. citizenship. The guy's like, all right, we'll do whatever we can. Just you set it up. So she arranges to have right here at the Biograph Theater. She's going to go out with Dillinger to the movies. They go to Manhattan Melodrama. July 22nd, 1934. It's a 100-degree day here in Chicago. There's a bar right next door. There's another store on the corner. He makes a run for it. 21 FBI agents all aiming for him at the same time. They gun him down right in that alley, right over there, about 6 feet from that fire hydrant. That's what Dillinger got gunned down, right in that little skinny alley right there. And everybody ran screaming, running away. But then they realized what had happened. They realized who it was, and everybody came running back. And see, not too many people had digital cameras back in 1934. So what they were doing, women were dipping their dresses in the blood to get a sample of John Dillinger's blood. A little newspaper kid down the street selling newspapers for like a penny. He decides to start ripping up the papers, dipping the blood. Now he's selling blood samples for $0.25 each. And that kid was little Donnie Trump. Yeah, so it was a big deal. And then the feds decided to put him on display the next day down at the morgue so the whole public can see him. You know, they want to show the world we finally got public enemy number one. Matter of fact, he was the first guy they ever called public enemy number one. And so that people got online to go see Dillinger. Dead in person, and a lot of people said that doesn't look like him. He looks like a huge guy. Dillinger was skinny, kind of a lean guy, and then the coroner's report disappeared, and that was gone for like 30 years. It resurfaced again in 1962, and when people looked at that, it had the eye color wrong, and they said that this victim had a withered heart, which everybody thought that's impossible. Dillinger couldn't have had a withered heart. This guy was known as the Leaping Bandit. He was a stooge that somebody else was there instead of Dillinger that day, and maybe they got the wrong guy because they buried him under 12 feet in Indianapolis. They covered it with cement and steel. Nobody could dig him up, and they're thinking somebody else took the hit. But Dillinger really got away, and he's still alive today. He's 108 years old. He's living down in Mexico City with Elvis.
He came here to Chicago, got in a bad deal over the oil.
Good man.
Crazy.
St. Valentine's Day Massacre happened on Valentine's Day, 1929, up here on the north side. Bugs Moran, the only victim, the intended victim, he actually never got shot. Wound up being 6 minutes late to an appointment that day to meet the Detroit Purple Gang. They sold Canadian whiskey through Windsor, Canada, to Detroit, sold to the American gangsters. They said, we got a big shipment of hooch for you. He agrees to show up at 10:30, but he shows up late. 7 of his men are there to get it. They're waiting outside. One of them looks like Moran from the back. 10:30 a.m. All right, you mugs, line up against the wall. We're going to search his out for pistols. Line of guys up. Pat them down for their guns. Bugs Moran drives by, sees what looks like a Chicago police car parked in his parking space. Doesn't like the looks of it. Keeps on driving. Goes to the end of the block, sips coffee. 2 guys dressed as officers take away the guns of these 7 gangsters. The 2 guys dressed in plain clothes pull out Thompson submachine guns. Now for the next 11 seconds, all they hear was a lot of silence before they hear the made a parking lot. The 7 men were gunned down right where those cars are parked. The actual police car was parked right here in front where this green car is. Jack McGurn was over there. That's where he made a mistake on them Black Bay windows of the 2nd floor. Caliber slugs lodged in him. He's still alive. So they haul him to Alexian Brothers Hospital. Say maybe we could save this guy's life. Doctors say, he's dead. Or he will be. You might as well get information out of him now. He's a dead man walking. Actually, wasn't really walking. He was a dead man lying down on a bed. Anyway, they prop him up. They start smacking him around. All right, get him. Come on, tell us who did this to you, Frankie.
Nobody did nothing.
Don't give me that crap. Someone, no one happened to you. Y'all shut up.
I fell down the stairs.
You didn't fall down nothing. You fell on bullets. Who shot you?
I ain't been shot.
Well, not even admit to being shot. That's denial right there. That's the first thing they teach you about psychologists. Who did this?
Coppers.
Coppers. And then dies. Implicates the Chicago police. He thought it was actual Chicago police that shot him up. We know it was out-of-town hitman, most likely from Kansas City, is employed by